All right, good morning, everyone. Glad to be here with you today with Plemory, with my team. So before I go ahead and get started, let me introduce my team first. So I am Amr Hilal. I'm an assistant professor and head of the informatics lab in the university library. We have here Howard Haynes, assistant professor of practice in the Department of Management in the College of Business. And we have Michael Stamper. He is on Zoom. He is our consultant for us on visualization in the university library, and our students, Mikhail here in the College of Business, and Hamed Desai from Computer Science. And we are going to present Plemory. All right. So I happen to be from Egypt. I'm proud to be from Egypt. When the revolution happened in 2011, I was here. It was a tough time for me and for all the Egyptians. A lot of things were happening there. And if you probably remember the Tahrir Square, where all those kind of stuff happened. When I went to Egypt for the first time after the revolution, walking down the Tahrir Street, the Tahrir Square, I was looking at the sky and hoping to find any traces of what happened at that time, all those memories. Those memories, of course, you can find online in many places, YouTube, but for a great extent, you can find a lot of them in the personal accounts on social media. Years after years, they start to diminish and you cannot find them. And even though with that, if you can find some of them, putting them all together will make the memory, the incident, more livable. You can see what happened. But that is not only special to the Egyptian revolution. Other events, like George Floyd, a lot of things happened, and with time, the memory diminished. Other things like the pipelines, like protecting the areas of the indigenous people, the Capitol insurrection, climate change, but not only those events that kind of grab all this attention, but also local events to here, like, for example, VT football games. A lot of special moments happen there that are actually worthy of preserving as memories for everyone. VT graduation as well. So all of that deserves to be preserved, interacted with, revived with time. So we decided, why don't we actually try to model what we have, what I've just mentioned. Let the memory stay in the place and at the time. And in order to do this, a critical cornerstone here is that we move from having the memories centered around people to centered around event. So we move from content aggregation, presentation, and sharing, moving that from being centered around people to centered around the events. And we model the memories as follows. So we let the memory fly up in the air as it happened, where it happened, and when it happened. And a memory loses its height, its popularity, once nobody talks about it, just like if you throw a little bit of dust in the air, and then gradually it will start calming down. Unless you blow it up again, it'll go up. You can interact with the memory by throwing it up again. And more interactions means the memory is going to fly higher, and more popularity, and more people will be able to see it. So a memory's popularity at the time is how high it can fly up in the air, and without, particularly having to care about who would do that. So to sum it up here, moving from people-centric to event-centric, we can gain some benefits. So number one, we capture the memories at the time and the space and let them live there, regardless who have done it. So in other words, you don't have to know me if I have posted something on my Facebook account or any other social media accounts. You can find it there regardless of who have done it. You just go to the place and time and find it there. And therefore, by presenting or projecting the public memories on a wider space of space and time, then I make it more easy to find. And your identity is separate. And by saying your identity is separate, that doesn't mean that you are free to do anything. You still have to create an account in order to be able to post or to create a memory or interact with memory. But this account is just for verifiability, accountability, and security. Your account, your identity is not going to be directly associated with the content. People will be able to see the content, the memories, but your identity is separate, is private to you. You can still interact with the memories, support them, and even communicate and support them as they happen at the same time. And the memory popularity compared to what actually happens now on the existing social media accounts, they actually depend on how much you interact with them. If you do not, then they will calm down. Therefore, you need to interact to revive the memory. You also can connect the synchronized events. So for all the events that I've mentioned in the first slide, there were many of them that were happening in multiple places at the same time. Not only at the same time, but also maybe different places, but at different times, but close times. Those are all events that should be connected. We also, an important aspect of that is to be able to see all the aspects, all the perspectives of the same event where people actually post what they have seen. What happens, and we could see in the different media outlets, is that one perspective sometimes is dominating and the other is not clear there. And finally, as we get into the era of the metaverse, so we can actually, by having a lot of those memories from multiple perspectives, multiple angles, we can put them together and allow you and work on allowing you to relive this memory in reality, in augmented reality and mixed reality. So how can we implement this? So going from concept to reality, we started with, we actually wanted to employ the lean startup model in research, so bringing things together. So we started from the hypothesis, putting our hypothesis. So we actually looked at all the personas, all the scenarios that users of Plemory can go through, and looked at all the problems and how Plemory can help to solve those. Next, we went to customer discovery. We left the building and went to the street. So actually, that was not really going to the street because that was the area of the pandemic, so we made everything virtual. So we met several people, made interviews, talked to several people, decided some customer segment to start with, and we're going to listen about this from McKay in the next slide. Now, after finishing the customer discovery phase, we collected what we have concluded and put this together into a set of features that we would like to start with in Plemory. And finally, we developed a prototype, semi-functional, that's not like a native application, it's a mobile application, implemented using special tools that does not require implementing like native codes to mobile phones, but just to show the concept of what we have been thinking about. I'll move now to McKay, who's going to talk about our hypothesis building.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dr. Lal, for that introduction. And before I get started with the specifics of our hypothesis testing and further details in regards to our customer discovery process, I want to preface two things. The first is, throughout this process, we decided to focus on one target segment of the very many that we hope to appeal to. So therefore, some of the information you see in the next few slides are specific to this target market. It is not necessarily holistic to everybody we hope to appeal to. Second of all, as Dr. Lal mentioned, we do not intend to be another social media platform. We want to be a content aggregation and support application, therefore, that people can get their message out. However, we want to be more focused on events rather than the individual profiles and those sort of social buildings. So just keep that in mind as we progress through this, just as something to hold and think about. So here are the main three hypotheses we wanted to test and evaluate to see if our application is truly viable and also acceptable within those of our user target. So feel free to read through those as I kind of touch on the key questions that we decided to ask our different interviewees in order to kind of prove these hypotheses. So you can see that first one there is our thoughts of our past events and experiences, something that these organizations and individuals can leverage for future use and success. The second one there is how have they been able to use interactions on current social media so that we can kind of use our app to kind of use the different benefits between all those different social platforms and combine it into one, and hopefully make that our means of differentiation and something that all these different individuals really like to use. And then that last bullet there is we wanted to focus on the challenges of current media coverage in order to hopefully offer these individuals and people an avenue in which it's hopefully better and less challenging than those currently out there. So I'm going to skip through and just show you the whole slide so you can kind of get a better overview and then talk about the specific bullet points here. So as I said before, we wanted to focus on one target segment of the many we hope to appeal to. So we decided to focus on activism. We want our application to be something that supports a true cause and change in society as a greater whole. Therefore, we focused on the social, political, and environmental activists, once again, both as organizations and as specific people. In order to kind of do this, we wanted to make sure that our customer reach was very broad. So we looked to talk to individuals at both the local, national, and international levels. The varying parameters, as you can see there, these are kind of what we wanted to focus on as we discerned which organizations or people that we wanted to interview. Not that everybody isn't great and somebody that we hope can use our app, but there were just certain specifics we wanted to make sure we kind of took into consideration in order to make sure that these people are going to be applicable and willing to use our app, hopefully here in the future. And then that last part there, the targeted guest profiles. Once again, this is more specific to our activist target market. So therefore, don't feel like these few bullets take anybody else out of consideration. We once again hope to have a very broad user capacity. But those different profiles are okay with technology. This is an application. Therefore, we hope that these people are somewhat well-versed in the basics of technology usage, therefore that they can use our app in the best way possible. We focused on the founders, communications, and outreach professionals. These are those that are directly involved with the current content providing of the different causes. Therefore, we wanted to let them know that we can offer them a platform that may be able to provide some different benefits and features that they don't have currently with their current social medias or social media outlets. And then the last one, of course, is the knowledge of the firm's social media process. We once again wanted to see how these different organizations use social media to get their message out and how we as a different application can better provide a way for them to do that. And lastly, here are our main takeaways. The first one is very specific to our call to action. It seems that other media outlets out there are great at providing the actual content themselves, but there is a bit of a lacking between going from the content to actual recruitment and engagement. Therefore, that's something we want to highlight in our application. The second one is, as we interviewed some of these more local organizations and individuals, they were getting a bit older in age, to say the least. Therefore, their usage with technology is fairly minimum. And as a lot of these new social media outlets keep updating and changing, it actually made it very difficult on them to continue to implement it as they moved along. So it's not that our app won't, of course, update and change. We just hope to make it a very user-friendly experience with people of any ages can hopefully fly through the app with a fair amount of ease. The third bullet there is in relation to, of course, is in relation to the storing and viewing of memories. So as we said, the content that is gathered at events is gathered that day, and sometimes it can last for a certain period of time, but then usually gets dug in behind people's very long camera rolls or at the way bottom of their social media accounts. And as they look down a few months ahead and want to kind of look back at those different events and memories, it's hard for them to find it. Therefore, we want to provide a means where that is more easily accessible. All in all, there was certainly a great deal of takeaways, and we felt that between the 70 or so organizations, individuals that we contacted, and then the 13 to 15 individuals that we interviewed, it seemed that our concept is certainly applicable, and if we can provide it in a way which is user-friendly, hopefully we can make some great impact within these individuals and organizations that we talk to. Now I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to my colleague here who made to talk about the application design and prototyping.
Hello everyone, I hope you can hear me. I'll just quickly switch to Zoom. Okay. Yeah. So here's like kind of a prototype that we designed to kind of show you guys how it would look like. Okay. So yeah, I hope you can see the screen. So this is the main landing page where the users will be redirected after a login or creating an account. So here, as you can see, we have, we give the options to the user to, the ability to record, kind of like scroll around as it gives the motion of AR application. And the main thing is you can see the memories that are floating around in the view, that they can identify them as nearby memories. So if you scroll around and look around, like you can see the memories that are nearby and the memories that are far. So as mentioned by Dr. Hilal, there are two dimensions here. One is the height of the memory, which indicates the popularity, and the other one is the size of the memory, which indicates the distance that the memory is located at. As you can see, there are small dots at the top, which indicates that memories are far like out of reach. And to view those memories, we have another feature that you can browse to the memories by just, I'm sorry about the blurry thing, it's because of the zoom. Anyways, so if you want to manually browse to the memories that are not visible in the AR view, we have given a 2D view, which you can just scroll around to see the memories that are located around you. And another feature that we wanted to show you is how do you filter memories and go to specific memory that happened in a particular time. So we have a feature that kind of filters memories according to the time. As we scroll back in, the memory kind of adjusts themselves based on the popularity. As the popularity increases or decreases over time, you can see that the memories are kind of fading, going up and down, indicating that their popularity are changing. So this happens, you can do this again from the 2D view. Here, just the size will decrease as it will indicate the popularity. So you can see that few memories are kind of, they fade in and fade out based on whether they were created in that time or not. So after you have found what are the memories that are nearby, if you want to view a memory, here you just tap on the memory from the AR view or from the 2D view. You have a co-located memory, which shows the memory that are nearby. And here we have like the VT Snowball event that had happened recently at the start of the semester. Then we have got the military parade. And as you can see, there are the related memory shows the different angle of the same memory or the same event. So there was like military parade or flag hosting and stuff like that. And after you tap on any one of the memories, you have two choices that we give to the user to support the memory. One is just if they are interested, but they just don't have that much support for the memory, they have the option to just throw the memory, like just a normal throw. As you can see, if I just throw it, it just goes off in the sky. And the other thing are for those who really, really support the cause or want to take action again for that event. So we have the feature called power throw, which if we shake the phone, it indicates the power that you're giving the memory. And if you just throw it, it just goes back in the sky and goes to a higher speed.
The two icons on the bottom. I mean, the left one is the normal throw, the right one is the power throw.
So yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention that. This is the basic prototype that we designed, and I would like to show you how it would look in reality. We have created a video to kind of show you all how it will look.
That's in the augmented reality view. If you point your phone to the space and see what's going on there, that will show you the memories projected onto the reality. And as Hamid mentioned, the higher the memory is, this means that it has been interacted with a lot, it's more popular. And as it goes up, it can be seen from further areas. So smaller in size means that it happened somewhere further from here, but it can be seen from here.
So as you can see in the background, we have the drill field view, and the camera we are rotating in that view, and the memories are kind of floating around. So that was our prototype, and that was our idea. I would like to thank you all for coming and watching the presentation.
Thank you, Hamid.
Thank you.
So final thing here is, of course, any type of those memories can be shared on the typical social media or content aggregation, other content aggregation platforms. And our next steps are going to be, number one, we are planning to present in the Creativity and Innovation Day. And number two, we're planning on creating like a simple application, a native application that people can interact with, really, on the phone rather than on Hamid's phone. All right, thank you so much.
We have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions. This is so fun. I'm ready to put my memories in there, and it's like where we walk into a historic place and say, boy, I wonder what would happen if these walls could talk.
That's absolutely
It's wonderful.
right, yeah.
I don't know if I have much more than what Phyllis just said. Because actually one of my last questions was how do you contribute to this, but that was answered wonderfully. This is just such a terrific project. One of my favorite concepts is something known as palimpsest, which is that when you write on a tablet and you lift that piece of paper off, there's a little indentation that's left there. I love this concept very, very much and would love to see it deployed. I was even glancing over at Tim just to see, because even in this space is, Tim, I'm stealing Tim's thunder, but he always describes how space becomes place. And the memories that are here, that are being formed in a building that's brand new, and then will accumulate over time. I think this is terrific. Thank you.
And that's actually, thank you so much. This actually brings us like a very nice idea that we were also thinking about. That is, rather than not only being able to throw the memories and let them stick in the air, in the public areas, we would like to do this also in the closed areas. Meaning that, let's say that is a multi-story building. So we would be able to stick the memories in this floor, in this room, and in the upper room, and so on and so forth. So it's not only, about the 2 dimensions, also the 3 dimensions.
Wonderful. And Michael, welcome. I'm glad you're here as well. Do you want to say a minute, say a thing about your role on the project?
I'm sorry, I'm
Wait,
having trouble hearing.
Michael, can you just say something about your role in the project?
Oh, I helped do like the design thinking, starting out on wireframes, user flows, and creating different concepts for this tool that could have some potentials that I think we could explore further. And I also created that little movie you saw at the end. So.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're part of the team. We are at time. There is a comment online I'll share with you all from an English professor who compares this, and I love it when we're crossing disciplines. And so she talked about a concept that Keats used. And so I'll share that with you. But thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I hope you will see you next week. Bring your academic jokes. Preferably the joke that no one will get unless they're part of your academic discipline, because those are the best, for real. That's the best ones. So we'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. Thanks, everybody.